Hey guys, Kaiju here. I've just realized that in my past couple Kaiju review episodes, I've had a theme of being, in the Godzilla territory of Kaiju instead of, Ultraman or Gamera or other monster categories like that. I also realized I'm nearing my 70th episode, so I decided for these next couple of Kaiju reviews, I'm going to only be sticking to Godzilla monsters in order to celebrate his 70th anniversary, until of course we get to episode 70, in which, I'll stop. With that being said, I'm not exactly sure which episode we're on right now, but whatever the case, we're going to be reviewing the Godzilla monster Battra. Yes, this underappreciated Heisei Mothra clone, as some people would call it, is one of the more unappreciated monsters in my opinion. I really like Battra for a couple of reasons, so I did pick up the movie Monster Series version that came out recently. Now, of course, with that being said, let's get into the actual detail itself so we can talk about it morehand. So Battra's detail is actually pretty good for the most part. As a lot of you, I'm sure know, Bandai has a lot of good detail on most of their figures. The fur of the wings, the back spikes, and of course the underside look amazing. The legs, in my opinion, are a specific highlight because for whatever reason they're made out of a different vinyl than the rest of the figure. But the biggest problem that this figure has, without a doubt, is the fact that the paint is very striking and not exactly in a good way. For example, the wing paint up top here doesn't really fade into the wing that much. It would have looked nicer if it was kind of faded in a little bit more with the black tones here. As you can see, they have a red stripe along the back, which is faded in really nice with the rest of the black, but for whatever reason on the wings, they didn't do that. The face looks fine. I really like the red that they did for the eyes, and the mouth looks okay, and I especially like the horns too. The horns look really good. But the only other area of paint on the figure is the underside here, and it is just red. I've heard a lot of people complain about this, and honestly, I do understand what they mean. It is kind of sad that this is what we get up top, and this is what we get on the back. I'm actually surprised they put paint there at all, though, because honestly, I could see Bandai just completely overriding this. And although it might be hard to see, there is actually areas where they sculpted out where that yellow would have went, but they didn't actually put it in there, which is kind of a shame. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I've definitely seen worse movie Monster Series releases come out recently. This is not that bad, but still, it kind of goes to show that, yeah, Bandai is caring less and less about the paint of these figures, which is a shame because the sculpts have always been pretty good in my opinion. And while I would usually move on to articulation, Battra does not have any here. I think this is the first figure I've ever reviewed in over 60 episodes that does not have any posability whatsoever. It's kind of a shame. I think they could have maybe put something up with the head or possibly even the legs or wings, but, they didn't. I guess this is the best way we can pose Battra here for sizing. I'll go ahead and put him next to another really underrated kaiju, which is Varan. Yeah, they look okay next to each other. Varan's movie Monster Series release is pretty big, so Battra doesn't look huge next to him. But, still, both of them are flying monsters, and like I said, both of them are criminally underrated monsters too, so cool to see them next to each other. And next up, we have our last review, which happens to coincide with this figure quite a lot, and it is the YMSF Kamacuras. Both of these guys are bug monsters, both of them are heavily underappreciated, and both of them desperately need or needed a movie Monster Series release. Of course, the YMSF figure is a tad bit bigger scale. I think it's 8 inches, not 6-inch scale, but still, I'd say, yeah, they look pretty good next to each other. Ironically, the thing that would actually prey on Battra does not look nearly as imposing, and that is Rodan. This is the Heisei Rodan, obviously, and yeah, but I do think they look cool next to each other. They're a couple movies apart, unfortunately, so they never shared the screen together, but still, it's good to have two Heisei monsters that look like this. I wish that I had the Heisei Mothra to go alongside Battra here. Hopefully I can get that figure one day. And that is my review of the Bandai Movie Monster Series Battra. This, of course, being a newer Bandai release, I'm sure there's a lot of other good reviews out there to show off the amazingness of this figure, but I did just get it, and since that I wanted to start doing more Godzilla reviews, I thought this would be a good one to do. It's cool. I'm glad that Bandai made a figure of it, and although it does have some glaring problems, I would still say that Bandai did a fairly good job on it compared to some of their other releases. That is my review of Battra. Thank you all for watching, and I hope I can see you guys in the next episode.